Hey everybody, it's the Dynamite Show. Paul Fontaine, Jeff Hawkins here on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. Wednesday night, right after Dynamite. And if you're listening tomorrow, Thursday morning on the Fight Game Media free audio feed. I just realized I didn't promote this show, so I can't really give AEW a hard time if they are not promoting stuff. Although they did a pretty good job of promoting Collision.
Did you know that it's March Madness, Paul?
I did, yeah. They're doing a better job promoting March Madness than I'm sure March Madness will be doing promoting them.
Well, okay, it's a double-edged sword. I'll get to it in a second. But you're going to Vegas in the middle of March Madness, which is very, very interesting.
It is, and and I got a free room, which is even more bizarre because
I heard the sportsbook is fun during March Madness, especially if you have some skin in the game. I recommend the Venetian if you're going that way.
Yeah, I should put some. I wasn't even thinking about that, but I should definitely put some money down on some
Duke's
long
winning
shots.
The men, and South Carolina.
Yeah, I know, but I'm only going to do like the first round matches because I don't want to do any futures bets. I don't know when I'm going back, to be honest.
The year Virginia won, I went to the Final Four. I would have loved to have been there like the last second of that Auburn game when they were like plus 3,500 to win. I'm gonna say this. It is a bit of a risk for AEW to go after these March Madness games, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
They do the loaded up studio show, and Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith know nothing about college basketball. I'm sorry to say it. They do it every year, and they bring them in for the eyeballs, and they're entertaining and things like that.
So they're going after the studio show, not after the game.
Well, no, the game, that's pretty much what it is. The game ends, and then it goes back to the studio for closing thoughts and talk, much like the NBA All-Star game, kind of, or the All-Star weekend, kind of. So
we're talking, what, like 15, 20 minutes or less?
At least 15, 20, maybe a half hour, depending on how long they want to go and depending on how quick the game is. And then they go into AEW Collision, and that'll be, I've seen... They'll get some numbers. Don't get me wrong, but it's one of those things.
I will say I do have the lineups because they read them off, and they did a good job promoting these lineups.
I thought so.
I'm not sure the lineups are any good, but
I like the Bandito match on Sunday. And then they
is it on Sunday because they
a crappy match on Saturday.
Well, yeah, because they said two different things. So Bandito said one thing, and then Excalibur said another thing, and then I think it ended up being what Bandito said, because
he's doing a double header. I believe he's on Sunday against Jericho and on Saturday against Johnny TV, or it's
no. Wait a minute. Okay, Bandito is on Sunday against Johnny. But then there's the tag match. I think you mixed up Bandito and Jalistico. Because there's the tag match is Commander and Hologram against Jalistico and Mortos.
The Lucha Stars?
Sunday. Yeah. The Los Estrella or whatever. Yeah.
But the assistant shaming them on Twitter and changing the name. That's the most hilarious.
Well, that was Brian and Vinny too. But now the funny thing is I could remember Lucha Stars. I'm never gonna remember this goofy name they have now.
No, I
even though it's a better name.
It's an overcorrection, is what it is, because Lucha Stars stinks, and then they turn it into something nobody can remember.
How about Estrella de Lucha? That's it. That's all they need to call them. Estrella de Lucha.
Masked badasses. Just
there you go. Yeah. But whatever. But yeah, so I'm sure, for the hardcores, it's gonna be great. And yeah, they get the Death Rider, but I just looked at that matchup and it's like, I don't know. And then next week they got nothing for Dynamite. Like nothing. But we'll get to that. So there wasn't much news in AEW. So as I said to you, we can we'll get right into the show right away.
I have no skin in this tournament. It's funny that everybody's complaining about it. It's like this year. It's like Virginia their coach quits before the season, and then they fire the coach after the season.
Has Omaha lost yet?
No.
Where's that tomorrow?
I believe it's opening round tomorrow.
Okay, I thought maybe it was a playing game.
The only way to lose is if you don't win.
Yeah. Because that's the AEW homers pick. I bet you there's gonna be a lot of money coming in on those guys because they outrun.
No, wrestling fans don't spend money.
Well, that's true.
Remember how advertisers didn't want to be on wrestling because
There
Fans don't
was
bring
there
any
was
money?
one minor bit of news that came out that I saw. Somebody was asking about Super Card of Honor and whether it was going to be on Mania weekend, as it always is. And I said, yeah, probably. I mean, they usually don't even announce it till like 2 weeks out. And I'm watching the TV and they're not really building anything. And then someone had asked your buddy Sean, and he said he thinks there's going to be a Super Card of Honor, but it's not going to be Mania weekend. So I don't know if they're going to maybe move it to Double or Nothing weekend. Makes sense to me if they did that, but I don't know. I don't know when it's going to be. They could do it Friday night of Double or Nothing weekend. They do Friday and then Collision and then the pay-per-view on Sunday.
Kind of sad. Sean's sending out old Joel Pearl out of Toronto to do the dirty work for the Fightful people, and I like Joel a lot, but it's just I can't take a week. I just got my ambulance bill, and they don't pay for those here in LA.
Oh yeah, so to go where? To go to Double or Nothing?
No, to go to Mania.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would love to go to Mania, but I can't go to Vegas 2 months in a row, and I wasn't going to spend $1,000 for tickets. So
no, yeah, the tickets are the part.
Yeah, and my inn hasn't officially announced that he or she re-signed with the company yet, so I didn't want to ask. So
look, you take your shame from Ed in San Antonio for not going to his show, and you like it.
I'll probably buy a ticket to his show anyway. That's all he cares about.
Yeah, that's all he cares about.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was the only bit of minor news.
Let's do the show then. Let's do it.
Yeah. So you know what? I didn't check did you see the attendance?
No, but I'll look it up while you say.
I'll check it. I got WrestleTix bookmarked here. So 2,183. So that's in Omaha. Doesn't look bad. Doesn't look like it was a huge building.
I hope they took care of them, because this feels like almost like, because of the weather and stuff, this feels like. Did you ever do lock-ins as a kid? Like the bowling alley with bringing a bunch of kids and they lock the doors and you stay there all night and you play.
Yeah, you
and
can't leave. Yeah,
this
crowd was great tonight. I thought they did their job, and so it's they got the size of the building. It's a 3,200 seat building, so they had 2,200 sold. I don't know if they all showed up. Yeah, Omaha. I mean, it's a big area.
For Nebraska, it's big.
Yeah. I mean, they've got Sioux City, I think, is the border town, right? Sioux City, Iowa, or no, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, I think, is the border town. And so, I mean, it's kind of like a metropolis, or as much of a metropolis as you get in the Midwest.
Oh no, it's expansive out there.
Yeah. I always stop there on my way to Dallas and usually spend the night at one of the casinos. So, but yeah, it's and our buddy Stevie J lives there. I don't know if he's at the show.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. I was wondering if he went.
Yeah. But we started off with the 4-way for the international title. And I will say, as the show was going on, I'm like, okay, we got 2 title matches. We got this 4-way qualifier. I wonder what the main event's going to be. And then, so when this match happened, I figured, okay, it's probably going to be the Mercedes match. Well, we'll get to that. But this 4-way match for the international title shot kicks off the show. Orange Cassidy against Speedball Bailey against Mark Davis against Ricochet. And Don Callis was on commentary. The 4 guys start the match and they don't even do anything. And the fans are chanting, "Holy shit." And I'm like, for this? Like, and I'm like, I determined at that point, this is the best
for
crowd
Mark Davis, baby.
Yeah. I feel this way too, Matt. Not blow away, but a very enjoyable night of wrestling. A lot I liked. Wasting Ospreay and AR Fox. Yeah, we'll get to that. I will say 5 matches on this show, 2 women's matches, and Will Ospreay had the worst match. I don't think I had that on my bingo card, but we'll get to that. And it wasn't a bad match. It was just short. But yeah, so they had this, just a fun match. Bailey got to do his speedball kicks, and then Orange Cassidy answered him by doing his own version of speedball kicks, which were the Orange Cassidy goofy kicks done slightly faster. And it was pretty cool. Then they did, a bunch of lucha spots and that super popped the crowd. Davis powerbomb Bailey onto the apron. I thought, oh my God, he looks like he killed him. And then he was right back up. So he was fine. Ricochet in the middle of the match jumped on commentary and basically just said, I'm not an idiot like Tony. I'm just going to let these guys fight it out, and then I'll come in and pick up the scraps. So that was kind of good. They went through a break. When they came back, the crowd was kind of dead, but they picked up when Orange Cassidy hit a back body drop on Davis. This match seemed to be designed to make Davis like look really big, and Callis was putting him over on commentary. It feels like they're dropping this whole Davis doesn't want to be in the Callis family thing, and because I think Callis said at one point, yeah, he's just getting along just fine now. So I think he's just going to be another member of the Callis family. So
they'll pick it back up in 8 weeks, and they'll tell you it's long-term storytelling.
Long-term storytelling, yeah. So Bailey hit a thrust kick, and then he hit a backflip knee drop onto Davis. Ricochet tried to steal the pin, but then Bailey saw it, threw him out of the way, hit a thrust kick to the back of Davis, went for a backslide, cradled him up, and then Ricochet covered him and put his feet on the ropes, and the ref counted to 3. So both him, Ricochet, and Speedball were celebrating, and the fans were chanting Speedball, Speedball, Speedball. And then Justin Roberts says, as a result of the pinfall, the winner of this match, who will go on to face, and I got to admit too, this was not for an international title shot. This was for a match with Kenny Omega at Dynasty. That is what they pushed. I mean, yes, Kenny is the international champion, and the winner does get an international title shot. But this was all about getting a match with Kenny Omega. So he announces Speedball, and then Speedball cheers. Everyone's happy. And Ricochet. And then Ricochet's like, oh, okay, cool. And
I hated the way they staged this, and I hated the ending to this match.
Yeah.
I'll get to Matthew's comment in a moment because he's wrong, because Penta was getting cheers in the second week. So let's not
that's true.
be prisoner of the moment.
But Matt doesn't watch WWE to be fair.
I know that, and I'm not picking on him necessarily. Yeah. I just that making that kind of a broad statement is incorrect.
Yeah.
Let me say this. You did not need this 4-way. This was Tony thinking, I'm just going to put on a party match as opposed to something logical. You could have had the tournament. You could have had Speedball beat Mark Davis. You could have had Ricochet beat Orange Cassidy, and then the two of them fight in the finals, and then it's a draw or a double count out or whatever you want to do, and then both are in the match.
Or you could have done the 4-way and then just booked a rematch for next week.
Yes.
And then maybe they go to a draw
next week.
Maybe they go to a draw next week. Yeah.
Because there's 2 weeks. There's 2 Dynamites in between, and none of these guys are the greatest promos in the world to get.
There's 3. I think
26, the 3rd or 2nd, and then on that Sunday so there's 2.
When is Dynasty? It May 6th. Oh, okay. Or April 6th.
April.
Okay, yeah. So 2 more Dynasties.
Yeah, and instead, and then the announcing part of it was it's like, just say there are 2 winners. The drawing it out is just kind of.
Oh, he was trying to recreate.
It was 2 by half.
He was trying to recreate the Luger Hart thing from the Royal Rumble.
Yes. And I get that. It's just, it's one of those things where there should have been more confusion. There should have been a huddle of referees. I mean, really sell this thing if we're gonna do that double pin crap, which I don't like 3-ways in general for titles. So it's one of those things where it's like, I get it, but I would have rather had a 1-on-1 with Ricochet or a 1-on-1 with Speedball here.
Matt had a point that Penta was a known star from AEW. Bailey doesn't compare to that since he's a total unknown relative to Pentagon. 2 things about that. Number 1, AEW is not as big as WWE. So
correct.
But number 2, we get unknowns come into NXT all the time and get over there. So those are WWE fans too. Main roster WWE, it is harder sometimes, but they're getting better. And if the booking allows you to shine, and this is where Matt would have a point, and where traditionally they haven't done this, but they are doing it better now, is where they don't allow the talent to shine and show what they can do. They just plug them into their system.
No, and it's just here, come out and have a banger as opposed to having a banger with stakes. And that helps too. I mean, Bailey's gimmick was over in 2013 or 2011, 2012 when I was watching him. And it's just, it's one of those things where he's the kind of guy that's going to get over to a live crowd.
Yes. Always.
Yes.
And
good looking, clean cut, mullet, has a ironic type of gimmick, kind of. So,
and I said this last week. I really want to put over Excalibur's job of getting him over last week.
No, he was very good.
He did a great job of talking about his signature moves and his history and everything. And they don't always do that. And they definitely did that with Bailey. I personally would have rather seen a Bailey Omega singles match, but the 3-way will be great. So, that's fine.
It'll be fine, but it just reeks of, I'd rather, build up one of the one-on-ones in 2 weeks, because I just get the feeling next week we're gonna have either Ricochet and Omega or Ricochet and Bailey, or Bailey and Omega. It's gonna be one of those types of things,
or a tag match, maybe a tag match.
2 matches to set up the.
But I will also say this match was great. Like, this would have fit right in on a pay-per-view. This was like this wouldn't have been even close to the worst match on Revolution. That was an all-time great pay-per-view. This is really one of the best openers in Dynamite's history.
Yeah, this opener would have fit anywhere.
Yeah, it was great. We got a video package for the Hurt Syndicate. Nothing much to it. Just showed them kicking ass. Didn't really hint at any direction. And then when they came out of it, Excalibur brought up the MVP's offer to MJF from last week, and that we're going to hear from MJF later answering. So I like that. Follow up on the big angle from last week. This is something that they haven't always done, but they're doing more of lately. And I really like that, because it tells you, hey, pay attention. This is important.
Yes.
Then we got
recaps are good. I'm for them.
Yes. And it wasn't long. And again, because of the fact that it was they had a blizzard in Omaha, and some people couldn't make it, and they had more time than usual. So we had a little more time for things like recaps and a little bit longer matches. So I find that these bad weather shows make for better shows sometimes. So I mentioned earlier, maybe the main event will be Mercedes title match. Nope. Next up, TBS title match, Mercedes Mone against Billie Starkz. So Mercedes comes out first, and then while Billy's being introduced, they showed a video package showing highlights of her matches, and even the previous TNT title match she had on AEW, which I knew she had wrestled Jade, but I didn't realize it was a title match. So kudos to them for bringing it up. And I mean, she looked good in the highlights. And I mean, she's been there now like 2.5 years. So, they got a nice little video package for her with all the ROH stuff. And I think the one Dynamite appearance, I think she was a lumber Jill on a collision.
She was.
Too.
Yes.
But they talked about her being a protege of Athena. They brought up a photo that had made the rounds on social media this week with Billy and Sasha Banks from, I assume, NXT.
She was at the Iron Woman match wearing a Bailey shirt.
So the New York one?
No. The one that was in
the follow-up
DC, the 30-minute one where she made Izzy cry, and then Mercedes responded, "Yes, I like making children cry."
I wonder how many people saw that and wondered if Billy is Izzy. They're both the same age,
they wouldn't. I mean, if they saw the picture, they would have never made that.
Okay. I didn't see the picture, so just hearing the story, it kind of sounds like it could have been. But anyways, but apparently she idolized.
I love the she had a 4.0 in high school, and Taz goes, "I had a 3.9." I'm just like, get the F out of here, Taz. You did not have a 3.9.
Yeah. Well, okay. So okay. I was going to bring that up, and I do have it in my notes here. So Excalibur's talking about her, says it, or Tony brings up it's her 500th career match, and she's only 20. Then Taz says, would she start wrestling when she was 4? And I mean, at the rate that these AEW wrestlers wrestle, she would have had to have started when she was like -20 to get to 500 matches. But she's 500 matches. And then he says the whole time she went to school, she was going to high school, she graduated with honors, she had a 4.0 GPA. Taz says, well, I had a 3.9 GPA. And then Tony Schiavone says, GPA Jones over here.
Yeah.
He broke Excalibur. For the next 30 seconds, he couldn't talk. This was, we never need to hear Jones again. Tony peaked. This is it.
Tony should have left the table at that point. I'm not going to stanza in the meeting.
Done. Yep. they had a great match.
Yes.
The Mercedes was bound and determined to have a great match with Billie, and Billie was right there for most of it. There was one spot where Billie hit, I don't even know what it was. I rewound it to try to figure it out, and they showed it on replay, and I still couldn't figure it out what it was. And they didn't call it anything, but it was kind of like a power bomb. But
I looked it up.
She kind of stacked her, and the ref counts 1, and the ref counts 2, and then he's putting his hand down for the third, and then he looks over and notices that Mercedes' foot is on the ropes, and Mercedes was not even close to kicking out. So they made the point, like, if she was like 2 inches to the left, she would have pinned her and won the title. And it was such a great near fall. And then they come right off of that, and Billie went for a senton, and she missed. And then Mercedes locked in the statement maker and got the submission. And I don't know how long it went. It felt like 12 or 13 minutes. This was better than the Mercedes match in the pay-per-view. This may be the best Billie match I've ever seen. It's possible one of the Athena matches was better, but this was outstanding. And
yeah, she usually does that move on the apron, which it was close enough to do that. It's something like the Guerrero bomb or something like that.
Yeah, Matt brought this up. This was after a reversal sequence where they were trying to hit tombstones, and then Mercedes hit a tombstone lung blower where when Billie landed, her knees went into the ribs. Oh, it was beautiful.
Well, she hit her flush on the senton too, I think.
Yeah.
I am gonna tweak AEW loyalists right now. Mercedes is the best pickup they've ever had, I think, in this company. She is the money. And I would feed Tony to her. I think they are diminishing her star in this kind of secondary world that doesn't exist with the women's championship. I do. I think she's the money. I think she should be pushed to the moon. I think she should be the face of the company. I've said this many times that she's the best pickup they ever had. Definitely the best of the 3 that they did last year, in terms of value to her division. Maybe to the company overall as well, because of how much she elevated the division. It took a little bit to get into it. Like her first 3-4 months weren't super great, but she was also coming off a major injury. So once she got her sea legs under her, she's been. And can we be a little bit honest here and say she was working with people who weren't at her level?
To a point. I do think she could have had better matches if she had her working boots on, and it wasn't that she wasn't motivated. It was that she was coming back from a major injury.
And it's one of those things where it's familiarity a little bit with the opponents, as opposed
getting used to the opponents, the new ring, the
ring,
new audiences, everything, But now she's in her groove, and she is. I said on X today that she is I called her the brackets WO man. And I meant in all of wrestling. Like I think now they threw out a hint last week of Tony and Mercedes. I recapped Tony's promo. I didn't even catch it until I heard someone else bring it up. And it's when she said, we have belt collectors out there. And so that was the long-term hint to Tony. Clearly they're building to Mercedes and Athena. There's a Mercedes promo later that brought that up, and I assume that'll be at All In, which is Texas.
Yeah, my fear is though that Tony is such a bigger presence / character that they think that's the direction, and I don't. I just don't. I think Mercedes is the money here, but
Mercedes and Tony down the road could end up being the first women's match to headline a pay-per-view.
There you go. I'll take that.
Yeah,
sure.
Well, yeah.
That's just wrong.
I just think they should let her go.
Right.
You know?
Do you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to read this for the audio
Yeah.
people. Do you guys agree that every good Mercedes match should add 3 more months of hiatus to Britt Baker? Look, I overall like Britt. I think sometimes her reach exceeds her grasp, but I like her. But I think she's kind of done with the company, to be honest with you. I mean, just
and
judging from body language to me.
And the more time that goes by, she could be just done with wrestling too.
I think so. I mean, look, she has a very lucrative career ahead of her.
Yeah. and I can see her just thinking, I don't need this shit. And because there's no guarantee. I think she will do better in WWE. I think they would be motivated to make sure she does better, but there's no guarantee.
She has friends there too.
She does. But if those fans turn on her, then all bets are off. Or if she shits the bed.
Yes.
Which is entirely possible because she's done it in AEW at times.
Yes.
But although I don't think she's nearly as bad as people.
She's not going to get let go, though. I don't think. I think they're going to keep. There's other factors involved.
There are.
That you and I. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's move on.
We talked about the Outrunners, and they showed a promo for the Omaha Mavericks. This was wacky.
This is great.
They're standing in front of a green screen with, I assume, whatever building this thing is taking place in behind them. Very clearly, they weren't there. They were in a sound studio, and then they showed highlights of the thing that made the rounds on ESPN and social media and everything. It was great, but it was bizarre. The
only way we're losing is to not win, though. I was on my couch dying at that line. It was so good, and I hate that it was this good.
What was?
And now line? I want Omaha to make a run, and there's no way they're going to. There's just no way. They're good, but they're not great. They're not at that level. They're teams that are built for this tournament. They might be built for an upset, but I doubt it. But it's like,
so why are they playing a 3 seed?
Because they were winning. I think they won their conference tournament, so they are a low. But
they're
seed.
15. Like, isn't it usually 15 versus 2?
Were they? I think they might have been a play-in game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was just weird. When I was looking at that, I just thought it was odd. So maybe they're changing things. Yeah, but yeah. So it was fun.
They still do the things right. Let's see.
Yeah.
They're 15. No, they're playing the 2 seed. They're playing St. John's.
Okay, so St. John's a 2. Okay.
And St. John's is going to roll them. St. John's team.
I think they're a 35-point favorite or something. I'd take the points.
I would take the point. Well, no, I'd take St. John's with the points. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
They're gonna blow them out of the building, I think.
I'll keep that in mind.
But I will take the upset. No, I love upsets in the first round, and then I want mid majors to lose all the time because I like the Big Five. I'm from one of those schools.
So we got the recap video of MVP's offer to MJF, and that led into an MJF promo. And this was taped, and it was, by MJF standards, it was brief and to the point. It was very good. He says fans are betting on which horse wins the race to become the next champ. Darby Allin beat him twice. I think he's dead on a mountain somewhere. Will Ospreay beat him for the international championship. Swerve Strickland, I just beat him in life. Then there's the Cowboy. And as much as you pains you to admit it, there's only one horse to put your chips on. So he doesn't have anything on Hangman, so he just moves on. The most complete wrestler on God's green earth, and you're looking at him. My Triple B is around the waist of Dictator John. He's surrounded by a pack of wild animals, so perhaps I need a clique of my own. But I got burned pretty bad the last time I had a partner. So MVP, I'll have an answer for you next week. But the time for daddy crying over spilled milk is over, and the time for me to smile over popped champagne, well, that's just begun. So the pop champagne line was cool because that's Hurt Syndicate. Like, that's what they do, right?
I like that he doesn't have anything for Hangman because he can't, because he lost to him. That's the best part of it for me. Boy, I could see it being, I mean, if the Hurt Syndicate are being made into quote unquote baby faces, and I don't know that for any kind of fact because they've been kind of weird about it.
Yeah.
Return of Wardlow to fight Bobby Lashley.
I did think of that.
Maybe even the Pinnacle in some ways, given tonight's actions during that street fight.
John Spears and FTR. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Sean
possible.
Spears will not be appearing, and neither will Tully Blanchard, unfortunately. No.
Although I will say, like, there was some conjecture this week about, people being confused about this MJF thing and how could he be with the Hurt Syndicate because they're baby faces. Well, they're not baby faces. They're heels, but the fans cheer them.
This also feels like it's going to be like a 3-week thing where he rejects them, and then it ultimately appears that he's on there, that they're all in cahoots together.
Who'd they beat for the title? Who'd they beat for the titles?
Yeah, a private party.
Were they baby faces?
Yes.
Okay. And who did
they were aligned with Mark Briscoe?
Right. Who'd they defend against the first time?
The Ass Boys.
And were they baby faces?
Yes.
Okay. And who'd they defend against at the pay-per-view?
The Outrunners.
Are they baby faces?
Yes.
They're heels. Okay. They're heels that the fans cheer. And MJF.
Oh, you led me into an entire interrogation on that one, Your Honor, counselor.
MJF will fit in great with them, and they should bring on Megan Bayne as well and make her his bodyguard. There you go. And
you
Tony's
want Megan Bayne in this Hurt Syndicate. That is your move.
Tony is even bringing up. Tony's even bringing up the fact that that she doesn't talk, so that's putting it in people's heads. She needs a manager. Well, there you go. I don't want to get.
Look, let me put another one on you. He rejects MJF, but Megan Bayne sides with MJ or rejects MVP, and then there's like that Tully Blanchard baby doll situation with
and then
Megan
you could get
Bayne.
Wardlow back too, and
sure.
FTR, We did get a super chat, and I don't want to get too far away from the Brit discussion to get into it. So thank you, Cyclops is better than Wolverine. We're at $4 on our running tab now to get us to review a Dynamite show because someone else did $1.99 last week. Britt is a great talker. In WWE, she'd be a star. I
don't deny that.
No, I think there's a better chance of her being a star there than in AEW right now.
I would agree, and I think there's people that would love to work with her, such as Chelsea Green.
And I think she's a better worker than people give her credit for.
She'd be good on the WWE stage where storytelling is a little bit more important than the star rating.
Right, where you can do a move, let it breathe.
Let it breathe. Cut a promo in the middle of the match, those types of things.
Do a hardcore match every once in a while, like she could have a freaking 4-star garbage street fight with Mishin, like everyone else.
Everybody else does, yeah. Or Dakota Kai,
So thank you, Cyclops better than Wolverine, and a reminder. If we get to 25 on our super chats, we will review a Dynamite of your choice, and we are currently watching the original Double or Nothing. I finished it today, actually, and we're going to review that Monday. Okay, and we're going to review that in a podcast with Double G at the end of the month. So we're just nailing down a date there, but look forward to that. That show, I will say, 3 matches in, I was thinking I was watching like the worst pay-per-view in AEW history. And it got a lot better by the end. It's hard to say because they're all great. And it was a great show, but it felt like the pay-per-view started when Cody smashed the throne.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah. So it was fun. We'll have a lot of good stuff to say about it. All right. Where are we here? Okay. So we had the MJF promo, and then main event. Is it going to be the street fight? No. The Excalibur tells us after this promo is done, when we come back, we're going to go to the street fight for the AEW World title, Mox versus Copeland. Cope, whatever his name is. And I was like, okay, bizarre. So they're starting at the top of the hour, so that's good. I mean, it's usually, other than the opening segment, that's usually the highest rated. So, and maybe the idea is, maybe it's going to go long, and then the last 2 matches will be canceled, right? Which they could have done, although God, I wouldn't want to see this for an hour. Although let me dial that back a little bit. This match was far better than their pay-per-view match.
Yes.
Although it did start out a little rough. They started brawling in the back. Kind of reminded me of the Orton match that he had with Edge. I think it was actually the WrestleMania match that everyone hated, like at the
This actually
beginning.
reminded me of the TNA pay-per-view that just came off, where it's like they were supposed to start with one match, and instead it turned into Sami Callihan, Mance Warner brawl backstage
Okay.
that just
Oh
started.
yeah. That's a good call. That's like Tony Schiavone over here.
Look at me quoting Impact or TNA.
Yeah. No, I saw that, and yeah, that's a good call. But yeah, just the way they started, like they were brawling beside like the trucks and everything, and then they ended up in the building. They almost got to the ring, and then they went back into the crowd. They're just going back and forth. It was just your typical, WWE, kind of street fight, ECW, like not really an AEW type of street fight, where like they're just in the ring killing themselves with things at first. Then they get into the ring, and Mox put a chair around Pillman's around Cope's head.
That was a nice slip, though.
Yeah, but I wrote down he's going to Pillmanize him, and then Cope got up at the last second, threw the chair at Mox. Then Cope raked his back like Mox always does. Then he hit a superplex. They showed Nana watching from backstage. They do the Abu spot. Mox hits him with knees to the head. Cope hits him with running clotheslines. I thought he was going to throw a spear in there at some point, but he didn't. Then he dropped him on his face, goes under the ring and gets Spike, which of course is his barbed wire 2x4. Then Mox hit him with a cutter when he gets in the ring. Mox goes under the ring, gets table, sets it up in the corner. While he's setting it up in the corner, Cope grabs Spike again, and he nails Moxley in the gut with it. And I'm like, okay, he probably pulled his punches, but the fans chanted, "You sick fuck." And I was like, okay, great. Then he puts this 2x4 on the ground and suplexes Jon Moxley, and Moxley lands on it back first. And I'm like, you idiot. I'm not going, "You sick fuck." I'm going, "You moron." So he gets up. This thing is stuck to him. You can see blood pouring out of pores. So shortly after this, Wheeler shows up, hits Edge with Cope with a Busako knee, and he's trying to get the 2x4 off of Mox's back. And as he's trying to pull it away, Wheeler's tearing flesh off of Mox's back. And I think someone just told him, "Fuck off, get away from here." The ref takes over and gets the bat off right away. They show Mox's back. He's lost skin. He's bleeding like crazy. I was like,
CZW.
Oh. At the end, they showed him when he was walking away, and like part of his back is changing colors. Like,
yes,
this
there might be an infection in there if we're not careful.
I don't know. But so anyways, this was the
cast
cue.
of thousands starts to join this match.
Claudio and Pac show up. They double team Cope. Cope is dead. I made the comment on X. I said, it's too bad that this match didn't take place on Collision, or maybe FTR could come out and help Cope. As soon as I hit send, they show up.
That'll learn you.
But then Ryan Frederick pointed out, they're taping Collision tonight. So I don't
Good
think
for Ryan for correcting all of us.
Yeah, no, I mean they only work Collision.
Yeah.
So anyways, they show up. They fought off Claudio and Pac. So Cope and Mox are
Cash
back.
kills himself on this first dive.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Oh my God. I was like, everybody's just going to get themselves hurt for our amusement. Okay.
My God. So Cope and Mox kind of wander to their feet, and Cope speared him through a table. Fans are chanting AEW. They lie on the ground for a bit, covers Mox, and of course Marina Shafir shows up, pulls Cope off, starts beating on him. And you know what happens next? Willow's music hits. She runs out. Massive ovation for her. This was every Bloodline match from like 2021 to 2023. Like,
this was House of Torture is what this was. This
was
even
no, because they're over. Like everything they did here was over. This crowd ate this shit up. That's why it reminds me of the Bloodline.
Yeah. I was waiting for Shivani to go, anyone else from the back want to come out here?
Yeah. Well, so Willow showed up, pulled her off, clotheslined her to hell. Crowd's going nuts. Then, okay, so I kind of I don't know what happened when Nick Wayne showed up. Was Christian with him, or was it just Nick?
It was Nick and Kip Sabian.
Oh, okay. No,
and Mama and Mama.
Mama was there too.
Mama
so
too.
Kip hit Mox with Edge with something, right? Like with the Wayne's World, I think.
With a cutter. I think Nick hit him with a cutter.
I think that's Wayne's World. It is a cutter. And then Mox covered, Cope kicked out, and then Mox goes right to the Bulldog, choke Cope out. Ref called the match without a tap, so Cope doesn't really have to job. This was really good. I docked like a quarter star
Matt's
for the
comment,
finish.
Because he makes a very good point. Put up Matthew's comment here.
Oh, no Jay White, though.
And he had promised last week.
Yeah, well.
He was going to be there.
Someone's going to ask Sean Ross Sapp about this, and Jay White didn't make it because of the blizzard. That's what's
that's what's going to happen. Yeah, we're fairly certain of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So he gets the win, and then we're in the aftermath, and Dax is a bit hot.
Yes. Curry had asked, do you think there's going to be some backlash because of that spot? I think he's talking about the 2x4. No.
No. I think people will complain, but I think nothing will be done.
No. I mean, did anything
there's
happen?
Always someone watching these shows who decides to troll and go, I was very offended by the spikes in the back. I watch sports entertainment and it's
Meltzer's gonna go off on this for like 15 minutes tomorrow on Wrestling Observer Radio, and then he's gonna give the match 4.75 stars.
Yes. and then on Brian and Vinny, Brian Alvarez will go, these morons.
Yes.
These dopes.
This fucking idiot. All right. So Nana,
he'll call him a madman. He won't call him a fucking idiot because that'll get back to Mox, but he'll say he's a madman.
Nana had been watching backstage. He wasn't impressed. He called Swerve up. They showed Mox leaving. Him and Marina flipped off the crowd and the people in the ring. Will and FTR help Cope up, and they do the spot so Cope can get his ovation. 4 people chanted, "You still got it." Cope, did you hear this? This was bad. Like,
yes, it was sad, is what it was.
It was weird because they've never chanted that for him. I guess they don't think he
never lost it. Why are we chanting he still has it?
I don't know. They chanted that at Nick Nemeth at one point.
Yeah, I remember that.
Cope. So Cope tried to get a hand from Dax, and Dax walked away. So this is the second show in a row where someone offered him a handshake and he walked away. I think maybe he's just like a germaphobe.
Dax or okay. Dax, so somebody offered Dax a handshake. Who was the other one?
Garcia.
Outrunners.
No, it was on. It was on.
I didn't watch Collision, so.
No, it was like Roddy or.
okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Again, maybe a Pinnacle type reunion. Maybe this is how they get Edge and Christian together.
This is what I was thinking.
Like Dax is mad that, hey, it's a street fight and you need a crew and you didn't ask us to be down at ringside with you. Yeah. You're a moron. You're an idiot. And then Cope just decks him or something and then turns heel.
But there was a little dissension between Dax and Cash because Dax walked away and Cash went after him and Dax kind of shoved him. Someone astutely pointed out, Brad Ryder, who sometimes listens to this show.
Yeah, I know. Brad.
He pointed out that Cash was wearing a rated FTR shirt, and Dax was wearing an FTR shirt. Dax also left through the heel tunnel. So.
Again, I'm thinking this is going to be a swerve, and that Cope and Dax get in a fight, and when push comes to shove, Cash backs Dax.
Yeah, and then we get Edge and Christian against FTR, which is what Dave probably all want.
Yes.
I love this. Mercedes' most recent tweet: "Fuck them kids," with a picture of her pinning Billy. That's great.
A lot of that going around between her and Cena. Yeah.
Well, that's what she's doing, right? We'll get to her promo, which was great too. So we got highlights of the Jericho gravity angle from the Revolution pre-show, and he threatened his family with a bat, and then they replayed Jericho's promo from last week. And then we got an interview, Renee with Bandito, and he says, "Wrestling, it runs in my veins. I know the dangers. I can handle them. What Chris Jericho did with my brother Gravity, it was the very first AEW show for my sister and my mother. You made my mother cry in front of me. I will never forgive you for that. So this Sunday at Collision, I hope you show up and handle it like a man and bring my brother's mask back and give it to me. And he is interrupted by, of all people, Johnny Television, the former John Morrison, who I don't remember the last time he was on AEW. He says, especially Dynamite, he says, who cares? You think you deserve to sit in the ring like a sad puppy on the biggest collision in history? Didn't we just have like Grand Slam Dynamite like 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
He says, that's not ratings. Bandito versus Johnny TV. I slam dunk your head and we get bigger ratings than the Super Bowl. Okay. Delusional fuck. So then they cut to the announcer, and Excalibur says that this match is going to be on Saturday. But later on, when they went over the card, it's on Sunday. So I don't know. That doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Then he put over the street fight, and he put over the ring crew and the production staff for putting all this thing back together. So I don't know. It was fun. It was a wacky promo.
I don't know if it was Collision or Dynamite where he did the promo with the MXM to set up the Boom guys.
That might have been. Oh, that was Collision. There definitely wasn't Dynamite.
Okay. No, that was pretty good. Look, he's very good at being a flake. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Some of this stuff.
My improv partner has taught him well. It's great. By the way, there's a wrestling.
Because I listened to way too much Brian Alvarez. That's why, John.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Why is Paul Fontaine channeling? This is what happens when you do voice to text, John.
I could not believe. Sorry.
Yeah. It's because I said Johnny Television of all people.
Yes.
All right. I got Will Ospreay is what I wrote versus AR Fox. This match. So they announced this at the beginning of the show. Oh, yeah, I wanted to put them over as actually because a couple of weeks ago, coming off the pay-per-view, that show where they had like nothing booked. When the show started, like they just started with the promo and they didn't tell us what was going to be on the show at all. And when I was giving them a hard time about not promoting a card ahead of time, and I was told he didn't know who was going to be available, blah, 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 blah. I said the very least they could have done was announce the card at the beginning of the show. And someone who is an AEW loyalist who defends them at every step of the way said, yeah, you actually got a point there. They should have done that. So they did it here. So kudos to them. They actually went down the card. But Will Ospreay versus AR Fox. Why? I don't know. Because they want an AR.
Because Will tweeted earlier in the day, I brought my gear with me and I won a match.
Oh, okay. And then AR Fox showed up and Tony was
AR Fox is still trying to make up for that whole passport thing, I think.
Matt says the match was fine. Ospreay spending that time cutting a promo would have been a million times more valuable. A million times might be a bit of an exaggeration, but would have been just as effective.
There's no value in AR Fox. I'm sorry. I like him. But he gets respect because of all the PWG bits he did with all these guys, and I get that. But
yeah.
You don't need to have a banger with Will Ospreay versus AR Fox on this show.
Well, that's okay because he didn't. The fans were super into Will. But then whenever AR Fox was on offense, like they didn't care because I don't think they know who he is. He's not like he's on Dynamite a lot. He's not a huge name or anything. So they did some
13 times. Yeah,
It was during this match that I realized, oh my God, the main event is going to be Megan Bayne and Kris Statlander. And so when that hit me, I had a hard time paying attention to the match. So if I miss anything, it's because of that. And I actually didn't write much down. Once the match, I wrote like they were super into him at the start. They were singing his name and everything. And then once they actually started wrestling, they just shut right up. Ospreay started working the crowd, got them back into it. He hit Fox with a dive to the outside going into break. Come back in the ring after break. They traded a bunch of kicks. Ospreay hit a Spanish fly for 2. We got a very light, well, this is awesome chant. Then Fox hit a 450. Will hit him with a hidden blade, or he missed a 450, I should say. And then Will just hit him with a hidden blade and got the pin. And usually, like, Will hit, like, one hidden blade, and then he'll hit something else, and then the person will kick out, and then he'll hit another one.
AR Fox is
miss
not worth
one. No.
All right.
So I don't know how long this went. It was like 6 minutes maybe, and like 3 of that was in the commercial. But it was fine for the time they had. But I mean, like I said earlier, 5 matches on this show, and 2 of them were women's matches, and Will Ospreay had the worst match on the show. So I don't think that'll ever happen again. Yeah. So then Excalibur pointed out that
kudos to AR Fox for showing up in the weather when others could not.
And he's wrestling twice tonight because he's doing a collision match too.
Doing the Jack Victory thing. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Making his money this week. So Excalibur points out that Will might not be 100% when the Owen starts, which I don't know when that is, but they're building it up already. So I assume like usually Double or Nothing, but maybe they're going to start earlier this year. He helped Fox up, put him over to the crowd, and then he stared at the All In sign. So that's coming. And then they announced here Dynasty, Mox versus Swerve. And while they were doing that, I noted that Will and Fox both left through the babyface tunnel. I don't know why I'm noticing this stuff. Probably just because it was a light show. So Renee, after this announcement of Mox and Swerve, brings in Hangman and asks, well, what are your thoughts on this match being official? He says, I've said it 100 times. I'll never let Swerve Strickland hold that AEW World Championship again. And I'm nothing if not a man of my word, but I'm done letting my focus be on someone else. I'm going to focus on me. And lately, a lot of people have been jumping the gun to enter the Owen. Well, I'm going to enter the Owen. I'm going to win that tournament, and I'm going to become the next AEW World Champion. Bruv. So, he's back to being a heel.
No, just a positional heel more than anything.
Matt brings up a great point. Someone brought this up last week, and I
have 2 guys.
I hesitated. Okay, so I had the same reaction as you because someone said as soon as Ospreay entered, it's like, oh, this thing's gonna be loaded this year. And my initial reaction was to respond. This was in our Discord. Respond, slow your roll. It's one guy. And exactly. I thought about it, and I thought, no, nothing's to be gained from saying that, so I'm not going to say it. And then, good thing I didn't because now it's Hangman too, and I imagine we'll get some other big names. But
allow me then, slow your roll. It's 2 guys.
At best, we'll get 4.
Jeff Jarrett's going to be in this thing.
But I would be perfectly fine with only these 2 being main eventers, and we see the brackets, and we know, okay, Hangman's on one side, Ospreay's on the other. We know we're getting them in the finals. That's fine. It doesn't matter who else is in the tournament.
It
doesn't.
Yes, it does.
It really doesn't. As long as you've got those 2 guys on either side of the bracket that either one of them could win, and they're both going to be great world title matches, I'm fine with that.
Give me the heavy hitters. I don't want Mark Davis versus Hangman Adam Page in this tournament.
That might be optimistic. Because I mean, they're gonna have to lose.
Nick Wayne will be in this tournament for some reason for a title shot.
Oh well, because it's honoring the Hearts. And no, Brody King should be in it because the Hearts always win. That's the worst catchphrase. We'll get to that. Hangman's in the Owen, I guess. Whenever that is.
And I'm fine with that.
So they ran down the this is where they ran down the cards for Slam Dunk Saturday and Slam Dunk Sunday. In case you didn't know it, they're occurring. So this is the deal. These shows are being taped tonight, and they're being split into 2 1-hour shows, and they're going to be airing after the NCAA tournament on both Saturday and Sunday on TNT. Do I have that right? Yes. So I looked it up in my listings here in Canada, and they're listed as airing at 10 o'clock, which I don't trust. So I taped a 2-hour overrun on each one of them. So I think I should catch both shows at some point.
Account for overtime and account for the studio post game.
That gives me a 3-hour window, and if that doesn't catch it, well, then I can go to Triller. But so the lineups: Saturday, TNT title match, Daniel Garcia and Adam Cole. We get a Max Caster Open Challenge. We get Julia Hart and Queen Aminata. And, by the way, Claudio. Oh, no, wait a minute. No, not Claudio. Because he's wrestling. I'm trying to think of who is going to answer his open challenge.
I don't know, but I'm going to Twitter to see if it's been spoiled.
Okay. I want to do a guess before you tell me. Just looking at who's around.
I don't know if it has been yet, so let's see.
Hangman already answered it, so it's not going to be him. Not MJF.
They just teased it 11 minutes ago, so they're not. I haven't seen anybody say it.
I'm gonna go with Shelton Benjamin.
Are they in town?
I don't know. Probably not. Although MVP only gave him 1 week off. So, anyways, so they did a video package for Julia Hart and Queen Aminata. We're 1-on-1. You can name the time of the place. This is
The
going
first response to the tweet is Megan Bayne. I was like, okay, I'm kind of here for that.
I'd be here with that. Yeah. To determine who the real winner is. And then Julia Hart says, because the heart always wins. That is the worst. The house always wins was great. You can't just change house to heart and use the same catchphrase because there's no House of Black anymore. Like, it's stupid.
Right, and it's a gambling reference.
Yeah, what does the heart always wins mean? Unless you're playing hearts.
Romance. It's a love story between Brody and Julia Hart.
And
Star-crossed lovers.
Also, this match, Takeshita and the Murder Machines against Powerhouse Hobbs, Mark Briscoe, and Rocky Romero. Well, at first I was like, who's going to lose there? But then it's like, okay, Takeshita's going to pin Rocky Romero. That's the match. Like,
yes.
Yeah. Interesting match.
You know, but they have, I can't crap on that because they used to have those all the time. And like my favorite little Crockett, it would be like Ron Garvin, Sam Houston, and Pistol Pez Watley. And you know who's taking the fall out of those three.
Yeah.
Pistol Pez, my man.
Every once in a while, you get Mike Jackson gets to team with, somebody. It's like, so he can
Mike Jackson and the Rock and Roll Express versus the Midnight Express and Jack Victory. Well, we know who's taking the fall there.
Yeah. And then Sunday, it's
Secret Service Jack Victory for those.
I don't know if this is a title match or not, but I don't think it matters. Claudio, Wheeler, and Pac against Top Flight and AR Fox.
Good God.
Harley Cameron in action, which out of all these matches that were announced, that got the biggest pop. Johnny TV against Bandito. So that is Sunday. So
that'll be fun.
So Bandito was correct and Excalibur was wrong. Let's get that for the record, because he corrected Bandito when they came out of that segment, and then here they corrected him again. And watch, it'll be on Saturday. And then the big one, the whatever the hell their name is, it's not Lucha Stars, Commander and Hologram against Dralistico and the Beast Mortos, which should be a hell of a match. I assume this is going to kick off the show, coming out of the NBA, and some people are going to love it and some people are going to hate it, and some people are already judging it, but I actually think it's a good move.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't
care enough to argue about it.
Well, no, but I mean, I think it'll be a good match. Don't get me wrong. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I just think people see luchadors and go geeks.
Someone thinks that they should load up this show and air something huge right after. No. I don't agree with that either.
It's going to die a ratings death after the first.
Because you are going to get a big audience, but it's not going to be an audience of AEW fans that is going to tune in again, on Wednesday.
It's going to be people who have left their television on, and then they look up and go, "What is this crap?" And then they'll turn.
Or they'll look and say, "Hey, that's cool." Maybe I'll watch till this match is over.
It's burned in my brain. Paul, I was sitting at a poker table and Rampage came on after the NBA, and somebody just looks up and goes, "Who put on this stupid wrestling shit?" Just went, and then they looked up and goes, "Oh, it's Jeff Hardy. Yeah. He's still wrestling."
So you saw this? Did you see the stuff on Collision with Harley and Mortos?
Yes.
Okay. I want Harley to put on a bull's head and call her the Breast Mortos. This has to happen.
I'm leaving.
Why? Come on, that's money. That's money, dude.
Was terrible.
That's money, dude. It's money.
That joke belongs on the roast of WrestleMania. Come on.
Okay, next week Dynamite. We announced we got a lineup for that. Kenny Omega's live. That's it.
So it'll be a tape promo. Because every time they say he'll be here or whatever, it's like it's tape promo.
Well, they're in St. Paul, which is fairly close to Winnipeg, so maybe he'll make the jaunt down.
They'll do it for Mookie's friends and family.
It's a 6-hour drive, so he can drive from. I should go to that show, but no, I'm just coming back from Vegas now. I can't do that. Normally I would probably. It's not that bad to get there.
Got it.
Speaking of money, like my Breast Mortos idea, Renee was with Mercedes Moné.
It doesn't even rhyme with beast. What are you? She calls herself
Marto. She just add a letter, dude.
I get it, but it's like, okay, but it's the delivery that'll make it. Let's put it that way.
The Breast Martos. So Renee was with Mercedes, and Mercedes asks her, "What's my record as TBS champion now?" And Renee happily says, 16-0. And she says, "That kid gave you a hell of a fight. How surprised were you?" And Mercedes answers, "That kid, Billie, has a lot of heart. But it takes more than heart to beat me. Who trained her? Who mentored her? Whoever did knows nothing about professional wrestling. If I trained her, she'd have had a chance." And then she laughs and she says, "No, she wouldn't. What that stupid kid learned tonight was there's no stopping the money train." And Renee laughs, and this is your slow burn to Mercedes and Athena.
Here for it.
Yeah, I think Texas feels
so
right.
Here for it.
Yeah. Now the problem is they're both heels, but
Athena will be turned babyface for Tejas.
Yeah, which is strange because if you actually watch ROH, nobody does, so it doesn't matter. She's
from Texas.
They're actually, they actually are not getting along right now on ROH, and but it's more like, she's my minion, so leave her alone is what the deal's gonna be, I think. So Tony Storm gets an intro to do commentary for the main event. And the main event of this Dynamite from Omaha in the middle of a blizzard is Megan Bayne versus Kris Statlander.
All right, let's stop right here.
Okay.
Why? Because, and not just main event, why are we rerunning this match back? Because
did they do this match already?
Remember, they've done Megan Bayne versus Kris Statlander.
No, I don't.
When she won, about 3 weeks ago.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Then I have no idea. I mean, I got the impression
there was a bunch of interference and stuff in it to do, and so we're doing this to keep Kris Statlander in the mix because she didn't lose clean. She had Megan Bayne had help and used shortcuts and blah blah blah. And I am here to tell you, the Kris Statlander story is over. For now.
It was a month ago. It was on
okay,
Dynamite.
That's fine. I know. Yeah. I knew it's recent.
Wow, I forgot.
Yes, they rushed into this. They beat Kris Statlander, and then they apparently Tony's thinking, "I want banger here. I want," as opposed to telling the story of just what a badass Megan Bayne is.
Do you realize Megan Bayne has had 4 matches since she came back to AEW?
Yes.
And Kris Statlander was her opponent in 3 of them.
Yes.
Sorry, 5. She had a squash match against Maya World when she first started.
Yes. Yeah. What are we doing? I know that I know Tony likes Kris Statlander.
Yeah.
I know that when they can decide.
And she got over in this match. I mean,
she's over in the ironic way though. She's not. There's no money in her. I don't think.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's another discussion. But I mean, the match was good. I will say
she's Willow's friend. That's why she gets
the start. Well, actually, they're not friends right now. But that's the start of this match.
Are they back to that again, or did I forget?
Well, yeah. The last time,
because they didn't trust each other, and
the last time Stat tried to help her, Willow shoved her off. So at the beginning of the match, the announcers were more concerned about cracking jokes than calling the match, and that was not great. Tony said she'd rather face Stat because she respects her. And she called her, she says she's a goddess. What's she a goddess of? Not speaking. And Penelope distracted Stat, allowing Bayne to take over. She gave her a suplex getting into break. They go to break with 3 minutes to the top of the hour again. Between that and Megan Bayne versus Kris Statlander at the main event, this quarter hour is going to die a death. But actually, Matt... No, it's Mercedes, but she may be second. I said that last year. I think it was after the street fight with Willow. I was looking at the women's matches in AEW at that time, and that was before Mercedes was kind of kicking in. And she had like 3 of the 4 best matches against 3 different opponents. So this was like in 2024, like not since it started, but she's very good. Like don't get me wrong.
She's good.
Yeah. But she's not better than Mercedes.
But she's been around for 3 or 4 years, and we never pulled the trigger. So
she was around longer than that. I watched a Dynamite from the first year. Yeah, Remember that one oh no, you didn't watch it.
Okay.
I watched. No, we both watched it. She was wrestled on
Yes.
that show.
That's right. She was doing the alien boop stuff.
And she was on an undefeated streak going for a title shot.
Yeah, it's not that I'm not saying she's not a good wrestler. I'm saying that the time to have pushed her to make her something as a star and as like a top draw in the women's division has passed.
Pre-pandemic, she got a Raw
she's not a good
title
promo
match against the Iconics.
Yes.
All right. So they come back from break. Crowd's dead. Then they picked up. They fought over a suplex on the top rope. Bayne gave her a running power bomb. She went for her finisher, which is an F5, but they're now calling it face descent. Stat hit an axe kick. They cut to Tony, and she says, "I'm on the edge of my seat here." And just like sounding as bored as she possibly could, which was not good. They do a slap battle while sitting. Crowd really started to get into it at this point. Penelope grabbed Stat's foot while she was running the ropes. Aubrey tossed her, and that probably got the biggest pop of the match.
It did.
And Tony Storm says, and I quote, I have to say that. Nice move, sugar tits. And this is where, okay, what we were talking about earlier, I think it was on there.
This is before the show, yes.
Oh, okay. This is the kind of thing that if a parent walks into the room, they're telling their kid, don't watch this anymore. You can't say that. Like, as the camera is focused directly down Penelope's shirt, like she might as well have been naked. Right?
Yeah, I think Tony works on commentary sporadically, but she only works with Nigel there to kind of cut to save when she says something a little bit over the line.
You might be thinking Mariah, because she does that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same. No, they serve the same purpose. Nigel has comedic timing.
Yeah.
Nigel knows jokes and stuff. No offense to Taz, but he
there's
has
double entendres and there's filth.
Yes.
And
yes. Yes. There's being cheeky and being crass.
Yes. And she straddles that line. That's another line right there. She'll probably use it next week.
That wasn't straddling.
Yeah, no, that was straight out. Never mind.
The best of no, stop, Tony.
They traded kicks. Stat powerbombed her. She had a Death Valley a Falcon Arrow for 2. And then
I once straddled both the Warner brothers and went, our sponsor, stop it.
Then Tony, they cut to her again, and she says, "I'm getting nervous. I'm not gonna lie. Look at the power." So she actually was kind of trying to sell it at this point. Stat hit a suplex. Bayne no-sold. Then Bayne hit one. Then Stat hit another one. And this is where Matt was talking about Suplex City. Bayne hit a flying clothesline. Then she hit a Falcon Arrow for 2. Stat hit a draping TDT. And then she hit a cannonball to the outside onto Bayne. Bayne came back, shoved her into the apron, and then shoved her onto Tony. Then she says, "Watch this." So it's like the first time we've heard her speak. And she hit face descent on the outside. Then she threw her back in and hit it again. And then she got the pin. And so that was
So the plan here is that she beats Kris Statlander, and then she loses to Tony, and then Kris Statlander beats Megan Bayne, and we're right back here, right?
Or she beats Kris again, and
or
gets a shot
Willow
at Mercedes.
beats her, or something like that. I mean, it's
usually losing a world title match is your shot. The next step is you get a shot at the TBS title. Or vice versa.
Athena had Megan Bayne.
Oh, maybe at some point. Yeah. Well, right now it's Mercedes. So Tony got in the ring to confront Bayne, and I wrote down in brackets brawled. They called it a hockey fight. It was not much, but security came in to break it up. The crowd was hot. Then Tony clotheslined her off the top rope. Big pop for that. Tony chants. She grabs a microphone, and I quote, "My God, you're a big bitch. I've always said the bigger they are, the harder they come. It's about time you and I got tantric. You look at my title, but you don't have much to say. I'll make this very easy for you. You and I shall have a date at Dynasty. I'll make your thighs shake and your body quake, and I'll leave with this strap on." And she said something about knocking her tits off. And Taz said she has a way with words. and then she collapsed and did her goofy swimming pose, and that was that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that promo. Now that was more on the line of double entendres than filth, but it was
Now time for the Big Bang Theory, or no, Modern Family.
yeah, Modern Family. Well, that gets filthy at times.
I'm not a fan of Modern Family, but that's okay.
I like Modern Family.
I don't like Eric Stone Street, so that's me. That's a personal thing.
She makes me giggle and warm, this Tony Storm. Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, so it was a pretty good Dynamite. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it was just a little bit weird in terms of the booking of the opener and then having Statlander and Megan Bayne be the main event.
In retrospect, I have no idea why the Mercedes match wasn't the main event, but
because they see Tony as the bigger star.
But Tony wasn't in the match.
No, but she was out there.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna matter.
I don't either. But she's also higher up on the hierarchy, and then that would be seen as.
I guess they wanted to close with the brawl in that promo. I'm sure.
The women's the women's champion should be higher in the pecking order than the TBS champion, despite the number of belts that Mercedes has.
True. I mean, the least they could have done was make this a number one contenders match, but I guess the AEW diehards would be, why does Kris Statlander deserve to be in a number one contenders match? She's lost her last three matches. Well, yeah, that's actually true. But yeah, so yeah, but other than that, it was good. There's no logic unless there's some other reason we're not thinking of that we don't even maybe know about. Like maybe there was like a big game that was starting and they were going to lose this quarter anyways, so they just decided to front load the show. Maybe, like, but the last
I think some of the chirpers are getting to Tony.
Oh, what? Like you got to put the big stars in the main event?
No, like why aren't you pushing the women harder? Because
I see. Okay, yeah, fair. Yeah, fair.
I think it's living rent free. I think Sam Shipman owns some real estate in Tony's brain.
Well, okay, and I will say there was a couple weeks ago when they did the EO Beyond EO Rhea match. Sorry, okay, that Rio is easy to make a mistake when it's Rhea and EO.
Yes.
When they did their world title match and it main evented Raw.
Right, there was a lot of people.
Number. Yeah. And Sam was one of them. She was on the Wrap, which you can listen to right here on this very network. I just listened to it today. Actually, I'm a little behind on it, and it was a good show, by the way. Keelan,
the WWE thing is a good point, though. Also, it really is.
Yeah, and then they also did that great Battleground show. Was that Battleground? No, Roadblock. And that main evented, the women main evented that one, although that didn't do a good number. But it was a great show. So this one, it's another step. And, it was a women's match that wasn't for a title and it main evented the show. So you can, that's a feather in your cap, I guess, in some ways. But I mean, it was a great show. I agree. One of the better Dynamites in the last little while. And there's been a string of good ones. So I really enjoyed it. More bad weather, please. No offense to the people in those areas, but makes for good shows. These fans that are held captive in the building make a lot of noise. So that's it. I'm gonna be this time tomorrow. I'll be in Vegas, losing money and or partying with my sister, and it should be a great time. No, my sister and I are hanging out.
I know. That's just phrasing.
Oh no. You know what she does? She'll go and try to pick up dudes, and then she will text me when the guy's bought her 3 drinks and she's not interested to come pull her away. This is the game.
You're the wingman. Oh
no, because then if I don't hear from her for like a half hour, then I know, okay, she's found somebody. Meantime, I just gamble and get free drinks. So there you go. Yeah. Anyhow,
like family tea on a podcast. Okay.
Yeah. So Jeff, what do you got coming up this weekend?
At Crap Game 13 on X. I do a show called Shake Them Ropes on Voices of Wrestling. This week, John Cena has spoken. Did we like the promo? Short answer, no. Delivery was good, but we'll talk about it this week. No pick for Vader Club yet. I have been told that the Mako Satomura match from today was quite outstanding and that I should seek it out.
Was that in WXW?
I do not know, but I was told the entire show was very good because there was a lot of there's a lot of tributes to old school people, in addition to giving tribute to Mako because she is about to retire. But that might be Vader Club next week, but we have no Vader Club yet this week. But we'll see what happens in the news, and we'll see what old Novembrino picks. That'll drop either Friday or Saturday, or possibly even Sunday morning. But it will be later this week, and I will be sure to get that out. And you can just follow the show at Shake Them Ropes, all one word.
It was Sendai Girls, the top of Joshi Wrestling, and it was Chihiro Hashimoto. I assume.
Yes, that sounds familiar.
Is that the daughter of
Shinya Hashimoto?
Yeah,
could be. I don't know,
but looks like
I don't know that much Yoshi.
Looks like a great match though. Rated 8.65 out of 10 on Cage Match, so that's usually like 4.5 or at least. So
we've been watching some Mako bangers, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in a while, so I may. I don't know. Who am I kidding? I'm not going to watch that. All right, so for me, it's just if it has English commentary, maybe. But so I've got.
It does. I was told it wasn't good though. So
okay, yeah. I've got my column on FightGameMedia.com. Matches of the week. This past week, it was Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi from the New Japan Cup. So you can check out my list. And New Japan was all over it this week because they had a good week. And then I'll be back on Monday with this week's list. And then next week back with Jeff on Wednesday after getting back from Vegas. And I also, if you're interested, I mentioned Keela's show. I filled in for Scott Young last week, and on that show. So the wrap, it's available on this free audio feed and the YouTube channel, I think. So you could check that out if you like. We talked about Roadblock and all other things WWE. So. For Jeff Hawkins, I've been Paul Fontaine, and this has been the Dynamite Show.
Beat Duke. Anybody